Hi, Erika Robinson from In the Company of Cards. Welcome back, or welcome if this is your first time. I am the author of, oh, who knows where it is? The Language of Lenormand, my book, as well as The Deck, which is Erika's Lenormand of Hope. And I use my cards to look at issues of the day and ideally to teach you a little bit of Lenormand at the same time. Okay, so how about that debate? I think I've said in my last video that it would feel interminable. I mean, I did not find it interminable. I'm sure certain people on the stage did. I thought it was a slaughter. Anyway, really impressed with Harris and how it went. And so I guess maybe the first thing I'll look at, I have about 5 questions here, some from viewers, some of my own. But the first question in light of the debate is, will there be a second one? Now, I don't love yes, no questions, but I can do them. And as you have seen already, if you've been watching me, there's a spread that I use, 6-card spread that is yes, no, and then gives me a little bit of detail about why it's yes or no. So let's try that. So as I've been doing, I'm gonna flip that screen so that you can watch me work. And this time I've shuffled the cards and I'm just gonna pull 3 cards. And these will be called houses. And then I'm gonna pull 3 more cards above them. And these will be the cards that are in the houses. So what we have are in the houses are the moon, the stork, and the ring. And the cards in the houses are these. So we've got the older man in the house of the moon. We have the sun in the house of the stork. We have the rider in the house of the ring. Okay, so what does that mean? Okay. Man in the house of the moon. This is the card for Trump. And the moon, if you recall, is reputation. I mean, he got slaughtered. And the word on the street is that even he is impressed by how well Harris did. He's a bully, so if he can be bested, he has to sort of step back and say, whoa, don't like you, but that was impressive. So he may very well want to get his reputation back. He's saying that he won. He didn't win, but he will want to reburnish his reputation. The sun in the house of the stork sort of emphasizes that. The stork is about positive change. And what kind of positive change? Well, he wants people to have a sunnier view, his followers anyway, of how he did. And then we have the rider in the house of the ring. Now, news, riders, news, information, and the ring to me feels very much like a rematch. And then the final thing I can do with this spread is I can mirror the very first card. Here, it's that Trump card with the very last card. So what does this mean? He will want a rematch. He will want a rematch. I don't know that his handlers will want a rematch. And so I also think that he may set terms that are untenable. Like, what would I consider an untenable term? It has to be on Fox. I mean, yeah, I thought those moderators did a terrific job. I'm sure Harris will probably say, anytime, anywhere, I'm in. And Trump may want a redo. The cards are saying that he wants a chance um, to do well, but he has handlers, and his handlers probably know that it won't be any better the second time around than it was the first time around for him. Uh, so he will want one. She will be amenable to it, Harris. Whether it happens or not will be up to handlers. I could say more about that, but I'll leave that alone. Okay, a viewer asked me a question. There's a lot of weather, literal weather that's going on right now. Um, you know, hurricane season's coming, earthquake season, all of that. And so I was asked whether there would be a volcano eruption between now and the end of the year in Campi Flegrei, and that happens to be in Naples, Italy. Now, I don't know whether there will be, but the cards know. So this is a yes/no question as well. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to pull 6 cards and see whether I think there will be a volcano eruption in Naples and Campi Flegrei, Flegrei, between now and the end of the year. Okay, so let's do this. And please, by the way, like, subscribe, share. It would mean the world to me. I'm loving doing this, and the way that you can tell me whether you're loving it too is for you to share, like, and subscribe. Okay, so you know what? I think I'm not going to do a yes, no. What I'm going to do is look for the mountain, have the mountain stand for the volcano, right? So the mountain will be our significator, and just see what's around that mountain. So that's what I'm going to do. Okay. So it's not on the bottom of the deck, so I just have to flip cards until I get to that mountain. While I'm flipping, please, if you've not done it before, like and subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. Okay. Come on, mountain. Okay, there we go. So there's our mountain, and this stands for the volcano in Naples, Italy, that I've been asked about whether or not it's going to erupt between now and the end of the year. 2 cards before it, and then the 2 cards after it. Okay. And so I just decided I would look at the energy around that. So we have the ring, we have the birds, we have the mountain, we have the stars, and we have the stork. And because we have that stork there, I'm going to say my instinct is telling me that it will not erupt, but let's look. The stork is about positive change, right? So the ring, I mean, of course, it's erupted before. So the question is, it comes up in the answer, right? Is it going to repeat? Will it erupt again? Apparently, there's a lot of talk about this, and not just sort of talk on the street, but geological talk. Geologists talk that there will be an eruption. In the middle, we have the volcano itself. And then we have the stars, which I think will stand for the future. And then we have the stork. Now, the stork is positive change, so that's good. But think about what change means. Change means something ceasing to be what it was and then becoming something else, or becoming better. So, I mean, is there any positive aspect to a volcano blowing? I mean, I guess Pompeii would say no. So I decided I would draw some clarifiers on this stork, because what does that mean? Like, what's going to improve? And we have the rider, we have the moon, and we have the whip. You know what I think? I think the improvement is, and it sounds like I'm hedging my bets. Sorry. The improvement feels to me as though it means that, um, we're in the modern era now. News travels fast. Geologists can ascertain quickly and more easily when and where and how something's going to blow. So this is news coming to the people in the vicinity. And the moon is about the reputation, which makes me think that it's due for an eruption. But, and the whip also makes me think that it's due for an eruption. But I think that if it does erupt, the consequences will not be as bad as they could be because we have that stork card at the end of the line. So is it going to blow before the end of the year? You know what? I'm going to say no. And I'm going to say if it does, it won't be anything to write home about. Okay, so I'm not going to say take that to the bank, but that's what I think. I think technology and our awareness of how these things happen and when and how is advanced. And so I think people and property will be okay if it does erupt. All right. Another question that I was asked to read on has to do with the government shutdown or a potential government shutdown. Now, I read on this before, and I saw that there would not be a government shutdown. But one of the things that I hope you're understanding about all card systems, and just also the way life works, is that energy is mutable, meaning energy is changeable. Circumstances can occur on any number of levels that can change the answer to a question. So what have we got going on now? We've got, an election cycle. We've got a Republican candidate who is failing and flailing both, who really controls the Republican Party despite his failing and flailing. And I know that he has put a bug in the ear of Johnson, who is the ne'er-do-well current Speaker of the House, saying that things should be held up. Trump wants a shutdown because then he can say, oh, look at that. It happened under a Democratic government. But that, I mean, yeah, but who caused the shutdown? It will not be the Democrats. So I think that particularly as a result of the debate performance, I think that Johnson may be less inclined to let Trump be too much in his ear. I think that they're realizing that Trump is kind of a lost cause. So he may not be writing the rules. I don't know. So this is let's not do yes, no. Let's pull 5 cards on whether there'll be a government shutdown. And I think what I'll do for shutdown, I'll use the scythe because the scythe's a cutting. Okay, so let's look for the government shutdown. Again, please like and subscribe as I look for the scythe, which popped right up. Okay, and interesting. Okay, so we have the fox, we have the stork again, we have the scythe, the book, and the rider. And this is right in keeping with what I said about energy being mutable. The fox is a lot of things, as each Lenormand card is, but here I feel like it's about the Republicans. On the one hand, they want to be wise as a serpent, and they also want to be gentle as a dove, because they certainly don't want to take any blame for a shutdown. So they're having to weigh this, is this to our advantage or is it not to our advantage? Are people going to be mad at the Republican Party if there's a shutdown? And by the way, the shutdown would happen. I think the government is funded through October 1st. So, we're talking about this shutdown happening in the next couple of weeks. It's interesting that the stork pops up, because I think, of course, each party will want the electorate to think well of it. We have the shutdown in the middle with the scythe. The book is the card saying we don't know, which is to say the energy is still fluid. And what don't we know? We don't know the message that the Republicans, who would be the ones to shut it down, want to send. What they don't know the message that they want to send. They're trying to figure it out. I can mirror the Fox, which is the Republican House leadership, with the rider. They're trying to figure out what is in our best interest as a party, to have a shutdown, to not have a shutdown. Which would be better? They don't know. So that's an incredibly unsatisfactory answer to that question. Sorry about that. But again, the energy is mutable. I think that the party is less and less inclined to fly off the handle because Trump suggests that they fly off the handle. I think they're being, the Fox is a cautious card, so I think they're cautious about the message that will send if they shut the government down. Okay. Another question to look at is the vice presidential debate. Now that also will happen on October 1st. This will be the debate between J.D. Vance and Tim Walz. So I think what I'm going to do, let's see, I'm going to pull 3 cards for Vance and 3 cards for Walz, and then I may do something else to get us closer to a more refined answer after that. So here we go. These cards are for Walz and his debate performance, and these cards are for Vance and his debate performance. So for Walz, we have the sun, the dog, and the star. And for Vance, we have the stork, the child, and the whip. Really interesting cards. For Walz, it's win-win-win. The sun, everybody says, is the best card in the deck. And people will also get a clearer picture of him. Remember that the sun shines light. So to whatever degree we don't know this governor from Minnesota, we will know him better. And through the debate, we will like what we hear, because he will sound as though he is a friend of the American people, let's just say. He will seem relatable. This is the dog, not the fox. He will seem relatable. He will seem good-natured, friendly. And I think this will move him up and forward in the standings. Okay. Now, let's not sneeze at the fact that we have Vance, who has the stork. God knows he needs a stork. Every time that man opens his mouth, he sticks his foot in it. So he will have an opportunity to present himself in a better light than heretofore, because the stork is about positive change. That's really good. but not in a huge way, because the child is something small. He won't win over anyone with his performance. He'll just seem less fringy weird. And this will not help him. He will be argumentative. He will be nasty. And I guess I can mirror the son with the whip. People will see his nasty side. So in other words, he'll have an opportunity to change people's opinion of him, but I don't think he will take the kind of advantage of it that he should take, because this is something small, and rather than him coming across as, I don't know, all American Appalachian for the people type of guy, he's going to come off as an arrogant, argumentative so and so, we'll just say, because YouTube. All right, so I think Walz is going to win by being affable. Not to say that he won't find ways to hit Vance where it hurts, but he will do it in a good-humored and an affable way. He won't lose his cool. I see Vance with that whip card losing his cool. Good, lose it. Okay. So remember, that's October 1st. Get your popcorn. All right. And then the last question that I think I want to look at today is something that will happen on November 26th. That is the rescheduled date for Juan Marchan's sentencing of 45. And it's 2 days before Thanksgiving. So who's going to get the gift? Who's going to be thankful for the Thanksgiving gift? Will it be us or will it be 45? And I say us because obviously, if you're for 45, why are you here? Unless you want to be convinced otherwise, in which case, well, welcome. Please like, share, and subscribe. Okay, so the sentencing. I got to think about okay. All right. I'm going to use for the sentencing the whip. Now, we just saw the whip earlier, and just in the last question, and it was the card that stood for Vance being argumentative, remember, in the vice presidential debate. But I am now going to imbue it just with my intention. There's no hocus pocus magic potion going on. Magic potion is my black coffee. I'll tell you why I need it in a second. But just with my intention, I'm going to imbue the whip card with the energy of sentencing, punishment. I mean, because right, isn't that what a sentence is in this situation? Punishment. Now, why am I drinking coffee at this late date? Well, it's afternoon. Usually I don't. I listened to Mary Trump's new book. It's called Who Could Ever Love You? And in case you don't know, and I don't know why you wouldn't know, if you're a reader, that's great. I love to read words. I write words on my Substack. Please go there too. It's in the company cards as well. But I can double my intake of information, right, by using audiobooks. So I plugged myself in, thinking I would just listen to a chapter. Can I just tell you, I listened to all 7 hours and 41 minutes of that book last night. So I got zero sleep. It's a good read. It's an interesting read. And whatever your family circumstances are, you will be thanking your lucky stars that your last name is not Trump. Entertainment purposes only, YouTube. So I'm a little tired, but I am definitely more informed than I was when I went to bed, and I recommend the book. So let's look and see whether, see what will happen with the sentencing of Mary Trump's uncle, Donald. Okay, and again, we're gonna look for the whip, because a sentence is a punishment. Okay. All right, so I just cut into three. Let me put this down so you can see. All right, so we're looking for the whip. It's not the last card, but it's interesting what is the last card, which is the tower, and that can stand for the justice system. Okay, but we're looking for the whip. Deep in the deck. Okay, finally. So here's our whip. This is the sentence. Putting the two cards that come to the left of it, and then I still have two cards in my hand and putting those to the right. Ooh. Ooh. Okay, look at this here. We have Clover, we have the young man, we have the whip, we have the mice, and we have the tower. Okay, so. Mm, mm, mm. I am definitely going to pull cards, clarifying cards. I'm going to pull three of them for each of the last three cards. Okay, so our cards were Clover, young man, whip, mice, and tower. All right, when I get to that card, which I will in a second, you'll see why I'm going, ooh. All right, listen. 45 is a lucky guy. Can we all agree on that? I mean, Teflon Don, a cat, pardon me, Vance, with 9 lives, um, and entertainment purposes only YouTube. I mean, he's got a lot of people in his pocket who are in high places. Supreme Court, I'm looking at you. So, even though he's facing all these things that he's facing, all these court cases and all these challenges, he knows himself to be a lucky guy. His life has shown him that he's a lucky guy. Clover is luck. And that makes him a guy who is full of hubris and bravado. If you ever watched that, what was it? Housewives of Atlanta. This episode was years and years and years ago. My daughter and I used to watch it together. And there was a woman, I think her name was Sheree, and she was sitting at a table minding her business with a bunch of her girlfriends. And this man came up to her in a very rude, menacing way. And she sat back in her chair and she said, "Who gonna check me, boo? You?" Okay, that's Trump. He's saying with these two cards to Marchan, "Who gonna check me, boo? You?" Well, bravado's all well and good. Bullies are full of bravado until they meet a bigger kid on the playground, and Marchan qualifies as the bigger kid on the playground. So this is 45 going into it. I got this. I'm good. I'm lucky. I've got judges in my pocket. Push comes to shove, I'll go to the Supreme Court. I'm not worried about this. Okay. In the center, you have the whip. This is the sentence, or the sentencing process, whatever. And then we have the mice and the Tower. You know what? The mice is about being anxious and nervous. And of course, underneath all of that bravado, of course, 45 is anxious and nervous. And I can mirror these two cards. So he wants everybody to think he's this, but of course, really he's this. But more than that, when I look at it with the final card, the fifth card, this feels like jail. And they say in Lenormand that when you see the mice with a card, sometimes it can eat away at the card that it's next to. So if there is a jail sentence, please God. Anyway, if there's a jail sentence, it will not be a long jail sentence. It'll be a shortened one, or maybe even this wouldn't be, I'm not thrilled with this, maybe even a suspended one. But I do think jail is a piece of it. Now, jail can mean a lot of things, so let's just see. But I don't see him getting off with a slap on the wrist, nor should he. Okay. So I pulled cards on, first of all, the whip, right? Because that's the sentencing. And the cards I pulled are the star, the fish, and the dog. Okay, not thrilled about this. First of all, the star, well, this line is actually right in the center. So I feel like this is what's going on now, is that the sentence was pushed off, the sentencing was pushed off into the future. But here we are about to be in the future on November 26th. Fish and dog, I don't love, because it's actually what I said earlier before I even pulled the cards. Fish is money and dog is friend. It's also attorney, by the way. But, 45 continues to have friends in high places. And not so much because they like him, but because he pays them. So that's how, that's part of how the sentence was pushed off. Not that Marchan was bought off. I'm not suggesting that at all. But I'm suggesting that he had money to appeal and push it off and do whatever he did. And money is still operative here. Okay. But now we get to the juicy part. What are the clarifiers for mice? House, child, and heart. I think he's going to get some type of house arrest. So no, he won't be in Rikers. He won't be in Guantanamo. He won't be in the Bastille. He will probably be under house arrest. And it's a New York case, right? So pretty sure that it won't be in Bedminster. I mean, in Mar-a-Lago. That's not where the house arrest is going to be, I don't think. Maybe Bedminster or maybe Trump Tower. Sadly, as I said earlier, I don't think it will be for a long time. I think it's more the point that, a slap on the wrist does him no good, teaches him nothing. But if he can't go out and golf, if he can't press the flesh, well, he won't need to press the flesh because the election will be over and he will not be the incoming president, just saying. I don't think the sentence will be long. It'll be short. And I think the heart will be that he'll say, good, because I can just watch TV. I'm good with that. But also, let me say this about the heart. Of course, the heart is love and all that, but the heart can also be the anatomical heart. And I can mirror the first card, which is card number 4 in our line of 5 going across, with my last clarifier. I can mirror these two. I've said this before as well. Don't be surprised if he doesn't have a cardiac event. Entertainment purposes only, YouTube. Because the mice eat away, they degrade the heart. So he could have a heart event at the sentencing, or just after the sentencing, or just before the sentencing. That wouldn't surprise me. All right, and then on jail itself, and of course we have to include house arrest because I think that's what it will be. The clarifiers are crossroads, scythe, and moon. So the crossroads, when you look at it as a clarifier for jail time, house arrest time, whatever, the court will have had to come up with some kind of alternate arrangement. Because even though he will not win the election, he is still a former president of the United States. You can't stick him in Rikers. You can't stick him in Guantanamo. Would that one could. So Crossroads is about alternatives. So there was an alternative incarceration plan developed for him. And then with the scythe and the moon, for all of his big, bad, loud mouth talk, this is going to eviscerate his reputation. Because you can't argue with that kind of a sentence. It just is what it is. Now, in the end, because I can mirror also the clover with the moon, first card with the moon, last card, he will in the end, I mean, nobody wants house arrest, but it's house arrest, it's not Rikers arrest. He will say, okay, you know what? I thought I was going to be super lucky in the way that I've always been super lucky, and the whole thing was going to just go away. But I'm going to count this as a win because I get to stay in my apartment or wherever and watch TV and get DoorDash or Uber. And yeah, so I'm still lucky, sucker. That's how he's gonna spin it. So I do think he will get house arrest. I don't think it will be for a long time. To fine him, they may fine him as well, but I mean, yeah, how much can you fine a person? He's already been fined, and has that done any good? I don't think so. So I think there will be some form of house arrest that will be brief but consequential, and it will be the final nail in his reputational coffin, to whatever extent he still has a reputation, because this is not good for him. All right, well, thank you so much for watching. Have a great rest of the week. If you want to make my week, please like, share, and subscribe. I really would appreciate it. All right, take care. Don't forget to ask me questions too. Put them in the comments and I will look at your questions next time. Bye.